good afternoon, and welcome to Brunch and Budget on Bonfire Radio with your host, Pamela Capellet, a certified financial planner here to help take the bite out of your budget, brunchandbudget.com. I'm your sound provider, Dialect, and here's your host, Pamela Capellet.
Thank you, Dialect, and thank you, everybody, for tuning in today. We have a very special series that we are starting. I guess it technically started last month, right?
Yeah, I don't know when we started it,
but we are super, super excited to have a partnership with the CFED. We have a chant for it. That's how excited we are. Woo! And Dedrick Asante-Muhammad, the director of the Racial Wealth Divide Initiative. And
people stopping the racial wealth divide. I know initiative sounds like you're starting it.
It's happening already.
Call up this guy if you like.
I wish it was something that had to be started instead of.
I know, right? Oh,
years of it,
yeah, that's also the realest point of all.
Yeah, for real. So every month we are going to be featuring an organization that is working to close the racial wealth gap. And this week we are super excited to have the Urban Alliance based out of DC and Baltimore. And we are here with Dedrick and also Stephanie, the executive director of the Urban Alliance in Baltimore. Thank you so much for being here.
Well, thank you for having us.
Yay! So they're actually in Baltimore right now. We're actually doing this over video chat. Thank you, Zoom, they don't sponsor us either. We just shout out people that we like.
We're shouting out potential sponsors.
Sponsors. Exactly. So Stephanie, I was e-lurking you. I said that in the email back and forth, and I think you're amazing. So Stephanie joined the Urban Alliance in September 2010 as a program coordinator. Then she went on to become a program director, and now she's the executive director of the Urban Alliance in the Baltimore region. 10 years of experience in human services and nonprofit management, basically a total nonprofit badass. And she's also, I don't know when you have time for this, but you're also the co-founder of a grassroots volunteer nonprofit that serves young girls. Is this Instilling Values in You Incorporated?
Yes, that's right.
Yes, so awesome. So awesome. So we're excited to have you here. And I think I just want to start with getting a little more background about how you got involved in this, what Urban Alliance's mission is, and what you do for them, and why you love working for them.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's definitely, well, first, thank you for having me today. And it's, for us, our program is really about exposing youth to the world of work, right? And really preparing the next generation to work, and also identify, who am I, right? And my skill set, and how do I contribute to our society? And for me, as you mentioned, I've been with Urban Alliance going on 7 years. And originally I was like, I'll be here 2 years, then I'll transition, but really just fell in love with the mission and the heart of what we're doing. And when we kind of look at our theory of change, it's like, how can you transition young people into the working world and really put them on a path to economic self-sufficiency. And we do that by providing these corporate paid internships, year-round paid internships for under-resourced youth here in Baltimore City, and also providing that wraparound service, right? So not just getting into a job, but what are my skill sets, and what does my life look like after high school, and providing a real clear plan about how I'm going to get there. And then when they complete our program, making sure that we're still connected to them through our alumni services to make sure that, if I'm going to college, I'm going to and through college. If I'm entering to the workplace, or if I want to be an entrepreneur, all right, how can we help you succeed in that way?
Yeah, and I just want to put forward, the reason we were excited to see CFED, the Racial Wealth Divide Initiative, so excited to have Urban Alliance as part of this building high impact nonprofit work we're doing in Baltimore, is they're hitting on so many of the core issues that we hear about when we talk about racial economic inequality. And I love that they talk about creating a school to career profession pipeline instead of a school to prison pipeline, which is oftentimes associated with Baltimore. And I love the idea too, they're talking about, paid internships, because again, we hear so oftentimes that, the way to a lot of kind of career opportunities is through internships or taking jobs that are paying very little, paying nothing, and oftentimes working class students, particularly students of color, can't afford to do a summer job for nothing and get that opportunity that then might have a great payback later. But they're dealing with many of these issues, and that's why we're so excited to have them as part of our work.
And as you should mention, that's sometimes when I'm talking to job partners, well, can it be unpaid? And when we look at the demographics of our young people, about 27% are living at the poverty line or low. And when we kind of look broader, 82% of our youth are actually contributing to the household. So to say, yeah, I'm going to put you in this year-long internship, I'm not going to pay you, that just doesn't make sense. And it's also beginning to teach them, those life skills. How do I budget? And even the value and dignity of money in general. And so for us to be able to, do that, it has to be paid.
Yeah, because I think it has to do a lot with respect and trust, right? We've talked about before the marshmallow test and all these kinds of things. And when you have people who grow up in a system where they're very used to what the results are, yeah, it's easy to be like, yeah, take this internship. Mom and dad are going to hold you down. You're going to stay at your uncle's for 6 months while you work on your thing. But for people who don't have that kind of exposure, I mean, you're asking folks to trust them in a place where usually when you trust someone and give of yourself, then you're just taken advantage of.
Exactly.
And it's like the respect of these companies, because how many companies love to get free labor from young folks,
people, yeah,
especially from young poor folks who are desperate to do it, and then we'll pay them nothing or next to nothing.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like, and I also, isn't that illegal?
Hey, Oprah does it.
Like unpaid interns, like come on, right?
Oprah
Not
paying
paying
kids,
somebody? Yeah, I guess so.
And actually,
I guess so.
Actually, over the last 6-7 years, there's been a lot of progress through the Labor Department on tightening rules about what it means to have these internships and what has and what hasn't. And a concern that is out there is that a lot of that's going to be deregulated out, and we're going to go back to the practices of, free labor from kind of more highly educated, well-off people as another barrier to career opportunities.
Right, absolutely.
Well, are doing very much, they're doing a lot of entry-level work, and we've got opportunities where students can get, hired afterwards. So, if they weren't there, they would be hiring someone else. So why not, give them this opportunity to create this network as well as, gain these skills and pay them.
Right.
Yes.
I love it. So what were you doing before Urban Alliance? How did you find Urban Alliance? How did you fall into it?
Yeah, so I actually started out my career working as a social worker. So I did that for about 3 years in North Carolina. And it's funny because I never wanted to work with young people. So, but I just began to volunteer through my sorority, and we were actually working at a local community center, a lot of, predominantly African-American young girls, and a lot of them was first time, going off to college, first time in undergraduate high school. And, for me, I was just kind of like, oh, well, that's interesting, that's different. And just, digging deeper and just learning about kind of where they're coming from and realizing that, a lot of them just didn't have opportunity, right? And so came in working as a social worker, loved that, but I still felt there was kind of a disconnection because I just felt like we were just housing kids. We weren't really providing them, with a roadmap. And so I heard about just the mission of Urban Alliance, and, like I said, I'd be here for 2 years and I wanted to be a therapist, but really just love what we were doing beyond just the internship, but really working on the personal social aspect of it, right? And who am I, where am I going to go? And the fact that we can still, carry on with our students through our alumni services, so we're able to know what they're doing 4 years out. And so, I started as a social worker, started my own nonprofit as well. I don't get to engage as much because Urban Alliance has taken over a lot of my life. But I've been working with youth for about 10 years now.
I love that. I feel like that the system tends to address the immediate needs, like you said, where housing, we'll put food in their mouths, but there isn't this holistic picture of, okay, so what's going to happen after? How are they going to become productive members of society? How are you going to teach them how to build careers? And I love that you even address the personal and social side of it, which I was watching one of the videos that your CEO had on a TEDx talk, and she said that you taught people how to overcome shyness. Mm-hmm. Like that was a huge thing that I didn't even think about, of like looking somebody in the eye and knowing how to shake somebody's hand is critical to like being a career person, right. But nobody teaches you that.
Yeah. Where else are you able to really gain that confidence? And I love our end of the year event. It's a public speaking challenge where, number one, it gives the an opportunity to talk about, what their experience has been the whole year, the impact it's had, even recommendations that they have for the company. I remember the student, he said, I realized that, adults have a sense of humor. Like, they're human.
Funny sometimes.
Yes, they are. Like, we are. But it's just like those little nuances, right?
Yeah.
And we talk about how she's like, I really learned about integrity, like how important that is by watching my mentor, interact with people throughout the hospital. So it's those little things that, you don't necessarily get to, learn in the classroom, but, really being able to connect, where I want to be into the workplace or into life.
That's so awesome. That's so awesome.
Yeah, and these are really undertaught because these aren't even considered soft skills by people. They're not considered skills that are building towards having a job because, again, this goes towards the racial wealth divide. They're expected to be there.
Right. I think people don't think of this
or
as
they
something that's taught.
assume you get this through sports, right? You learn this in sports, right? How to be in front.
Right. Or your mom or your dad will teach you all of that. And it's just like part of learning manners or whatever people have in their heads.
Yeah, they don't teach etiquette classes no more, right?
Well, and two, corporate culture is very different than other types of culture. And so there's really no reason to expect someone to, particularly if they're not from an area where they have a lot of professionals and get the opportunity to see corporate culture interacting in a positive way, where they are included, so to give that opportunity early on, so not after they college and then their first job, they're struggling with all of those issues.
Exactly. I think that's a big piece of the inclusion part of like, oh, like I have a business card, like my name is like on the door, like I'm in a meeting and they're asking for my advice. Like the confidence that a 17-year, to gain that early on, it's so critical for their future goals.
Yeah, that's so true. And I feel like they already have a leg up for most people who come out of college and who walk into the workforce for the first time, and they sit in that meeting and they don't know how to contribute and they don't know how to do it in a way that is productive for everybody, in a way that adheres to like the corporate politics and also like propels them forward.
Well, and I think that this is why I really love your connectivity, is why you stick around with these guys as they're growing and becoming young adults. That's something that's often left out. I think it's now just beginning to be something that people are paying attention to. I'd love to hear more about, I feel like I know reasons why I think it's a good thing, why you think it's really important for young people, not just in their personal lives, but their careers, whether they're entrepreneurs or employees.
Yeah, I think for me, the biggest thing is it's the confidence, right? That there are a lot of misconceptions about young people, especially young people of color in Baltimore, and particularly like everything that happened with the riots a few years ago. And so a lot of times they're kind of looked down on, like, I'm not mature enough, I'm not smart enough, like, I think I'm going to, steal. So there's a lot of misconceptions about young people. But, when they're able to work with an adult who, affirms, and even with us, through the case management we provide, that we affirm that, no, like, you are smart, you do have skills, like, there's lots of opportunities for you. It's just about finding them. That can take you many, many places once you begin to believe in yourself. And so I think that, to me, is the critical aspect of our program. And we, survey our students. So that's one of the things I talk about. 94% of them saying, like, I feel more confident around adults, in an office setting. Like, I know that maybe I don't want to be a doctor anymore or a nurse, or that, maybe, yes, I do want to be an engineer. I want to work in corporate. So it begins to open up many doors that they maybe not would have thought of prior to being in this program.
And I think, and again, I think that's a great point. Just, we talked about this in the past, that the professional setting, there's so many different types of job opportunities, but it's, the only way you really learn about them is by being able to engage and kind of see that, oh, people are paid to do this type of work, and I'm interested in that. It's the kid books where you have a baker, a police officer, and what have you, isn't enough to understand what are the careers out there. So again, just how incredibly that important is, particularly for communities that are oftentimes disenfranchised economically, and you see have very little understanding of what people are doing to be economically successful. You just see that some people are, and a lot of your people aren't.
Right, exactly. Speaking, one of the things that's in the racial wealth divide talks about, the plight of vacant buildings, 30,000 in Baltimore. So when a young person walks out their house and they, you live next to a vacant building, and you see this, and what are my surroundings telling me? about where I can go and where I can be. But when you're able to, you know, be in an environment or create a network that tells you that, no, it is possible, like, to me, like, that opens up, again, numerous doors for what a person can do, even in their community. Because we find when we look at our other regions that our Baltimore youth, they stay local. So whether they're going to local schools or they're going to be working, you know, at a local organization, they're going to be in Baltimore, right? And so now, you know, we've created these leadership skills in them to really begin to think, like, how can I be a change maker, you know, in my own backyard? And to me, that is the most significant aspect, because that's the generation that's going to be the, you know, future leader. So it's so critical that we invest in them now.
Yeah, totally.
For anyone who's listening to that and they're like, BS, I grew up around bad stuff and I became awesome stuff, I want to throw some psychological realness at you. We have a tendency towards status quo. It's something our brains crave. It's something our brains desperately need. It's why you want to feel normal in several different situations.
Especially as a kid.
Well, especially as a young person. It's why you tend to make fun of the other, even if and especially if they share your traits that you know they're noticing theirs and not yours. It's why you will make fun of poor people even as an adult, looking at, oh, poor people. It's why you assume that, with lack of other evidence, that they have done something wrong to get them in that bad position, and why you assume that people with money have done something right. It's why your brain thinks that, because status quo, it's comfort, it's normalcy, it's a thing that we all feel like we need. So the idea that kids are going to grow up around that and be likely to change their environment is not high.
Yeah.
So it needs outside intervention.
Yeah, absolutely. You need someone to pull you out of it and show you a different perspective and support you in whatever you want to try next. So I feel like that's what y'all are doing. It's amazing.
And I think we're even doing that for, because there are like tons of benefits for youth, but even for, you know, companies. You talk about the benefit for the company, the benefit for, you know, saying the city. We did a white paper a few years ago, and one of the statistics that always comes to mind is that, you know, it costs for every disconnected youth about $700,000, you know, lost wages, taxes, etc., when they're disconnected from school and work. And so that speaks volumes to, like, who's going to be your workforce, you know, that person who's disconnected from work. So what are they going to do? Your crime goes up, violence goes up. So, you know, early investment in youth employment is critical, not just to youth, but for the businesses, which, you know, we are fortunate that we have incredible partners who look at this as an opportunity to, yes, mentor, but also, you know, create a talent pipeline, you know, leadership opportunities, and really be connected to their community and, like, what's going on. So it has, you know, various benefits beyond just youth.
And that was my question I was asking you, Stephanie, is how do you feel the Urban Alliance project, which I know can only go so, you know, so large, right? Like in any particular city, but how do you think it's influencing what the politicians in Baltimore are thinking about, or the corporate sector that could have even a bigger impact?
Right, and I think that, and that's a great question. I think people are really beginning to see, like, oh, youth employment, like, this is something we need to look at, particularly after the riots. We were beginning to be called into lots of meetings, and I know I was working with a local city council member, and they want to be able to create something beyond just summer internships. They want to be able to create year-long. Like, so how can we begin to take our model and do it in different emerging careers? So healthcare is big in Baltimore, technology, right? So how can we begin to look at, you know, this younger population and create these opportunities beyond just the summer and beyond just, you know, the cohort of youth that we work with? So I definitely see politicians beginning to make that connection of, you know, school to work rather than that prison pipeline. And particularly because, I mean, Baltimore, only 68% of youth are graduating from high school, right? So we've all got to really begin to think of, you know, different interventions and evidence-based models that are working to make sure that, number one, our youth make it to, you know, the 12th grade, and when they do, they're not disconnected. In the Baltimore Business Journal, I think maybe back in May, they did a report on disconnected youth, and it was about 18,000, so about 26% of youth 16 to 24 who were not working or in school. And so I think that also kind of piqued the interest of, you know, a lot of these politicians and city leaders about, like, we really need to begin to think strategically about how we can offer more opportunities.
Yeah, I just want to highlight, I think this is one of Stephanie's points. I think it's really important you're highlighting that, or you're stating how we're going to invest in these youth. one way or the other. Right?
Yeah.
Putting money towards them.
Hundreds of thousands of dollars, that's right, incarceration or social services, what have you, or you can invest in them so they can become more self-sufficient, productive citizens.
Yes, absolutely. I love it. All right.
It's like give people health care in the first place so that they can go to the regular doctor so that it's not costing you a ton of money when they have to go to the ER.
Yeah, totally.
Think of it like that at the very least. I've said that. I've gone into places. I remember I went back home to St. Croix. I said, hey, I teaching all you kids. When I was an old man, I am on don't rob me. So we go into our first song, and this is Chasing Rallies by Michael DeVille out of Shy City, talking about a lot of good things. And we'll be wrapping in a minute. Watch your budget, Bonfire Radio.
Two Americas for one me. Now where you think they making safety a priority? Never where my majority lives. That is, if they really ever get to live for real. The cops hunting me this season like it's time to grill. Just a friendly pat down with intent to kill. A little pressure on your neck so you'll admit the guilt of living and breathing. Put a stop to that by squeezing slave catchers. Run amok fraternity of chosen heathens. Ponder. An organization built to catch me, to trap me by any means deemed necessary, also wants my trust, empathy, and to humanize their right to continued existence. Even as they murder me for fear, stay silent when I scream, they demand to be seen as the protector of my dreams. Fuck that, you can take a step back one time. Don't need that type of protection that be coming with the catch. If I obey what you say, just abide. I'm reaching for my registration. Partner me, pop me on the driver's side. Did they police like that up in the valley? Had me running from intimidation. Now they got me chasing rallies. The only pavement that I'm seeking is the highway. Stopping that lakeshore traffic coming my way. The bad days wrapping around me screaming breathe. Simple fact I forget in the city line with thieves of light. So sad I had to justify my right to fight. Extermination while you stalled at the street light. So pay attention. You see my people down there on a mission. You may be inconvenienced, but just stop and listen. We want that justice for the innocents that died. It's a question, not a battle cry. It's not a battle cry.
I've been to Iraq 14 months for my people. You come over and ignored them. They don't have guns. Why are you hurting these people? It doesn't make any sense. How do you sleep at night? There is no honor in this. There is no honor in this.
Now I'm scared for real, who do I tell? Can call the blue and red, they probably throw me in the jail. And that's just if I'm lucky. Then do the crime, but I'm black and my hair is funky. Little boy, you fit the profile, living in the wild like beast unidentified by civilized eyes. Your target practice for aggression, growing bolder with time. Grab the gun, turn them body cams off. No one will ever see the shot, the one that took his head off. So let's high five. Ponder. Are these killings of black and brown bodies more prevalent because of the current state of unknowledge in this country? Or has it always been that way? Is it normal to think about this every day, walking to the store or at the movies or passing a squad car? We are far from normal. Never great, never was. How can you win public communities full of drugs? Sick the dogs on them, put the law on them, long arms. Protecting the privilege inside their bubbles from the harm. How sweet sensibilities get maintained. Status quo, white fragility and black pain. Man, I swear this happened before. Just want to make sure this don't happen no more. I put my body on the lines in solidarity. Try to control the perception that I'm threatening and mass produce media blackout of the coverage, trying to falsify a truth, forming a noose and only pulling tighter. Can't speak if I can't breathe. Now this protest starting to look more like a riot, and you wonder why. We won't be silenced any longer by your lullabies. We want justice for the innocents that died. It's a simple question you should answer, not a battle cry, not a battle cry. Not a battle cry.
And we are back. Brunch and Budget, Bonfire Radio. That was Michael DeVille out of Chicago, chasing rallies. Chasing rallies because, Lord, there's so many going on right now. You have to run after them.
Oh, man.
At first, I thought he was just a big fan of what Southerners call checkers.
Yeah. Oh, jeez. So we are here with the first in our series with CFED, featuring a financial-based nonprofit who is helping to close the racial wealth divide. So we are here with Stephanie Amponsah of Urban Alliance, the executive director, dropping all the knowledge beforehand on how to actually change the school to prison pipeline to the school to career and school to talent pipeline. Because
I love that so much.
So much.
Great
So
way to
good.
flip. I'm jacking that. I'm using it all over the place.
So good. It's yours. It's yours.
I want to, and anybody listening, I feel like you're okay with this. Please bite that and like make it school to anything other than.
I'm okay with it.
That's what it should be.
Just make up a thing. School to the ice cream store.
Oh, I want that pipeline.
There we go.
So good. All right. So I want to get into the guts of this program because it's so robust and I feel like you're training high school kids. Like I'm trying to think about myself in high school and if I'd be able to handle this. You're training high school kids, right? To be able to be in the corporate environment before they even go to college. So what kind of soft skills do you feel like are the most important to teach you to be able to be successful in building a career in the corporate environment?
Yeah, that's a great question. And for us, before our students even get in a job site, they go through 6 weeks of unpaid training, which is very intentional because we also want to see self-motivation, right? So if you're going to come every day after school for 6 weeks, not paid, we know that you're serious about this opportunity. And the number one thing we're looking for is a positive attitude, right? Because we hear from our companies all the time that, okay, they may not have the best skills, some of them that come in, but they're teachable, right? So positive attitude, great attendance, showing initiative. Throughout our program, we actually rate our students on 10 unique hard and soft skills. So from punctuality to attire, to customer service, communication skills, really making sure that, again, before they even enter the workplace, that they have those skills and that those skills are continued throughout the program. So they'll get a baseline evaluation. So, first 2 weeks, where did you rate, in terms of your customer service and your goal setting? And then they'll do another evaluation in the winter, spring and summer. And these are also contingent with their raises. So we do build in 2 merit-based raises.
They get raises?
They do, I know.
Whoa.
Yeah. Which is something we also do because we simulate like the real world. Like we all, when we workplace and we do well, we get a bonus, we get evaluation. And so our students do get these 4 evaluations throughout the year. So they start at $8.25 an hour, so a little bit above minimum wage, and then the opportunity to make 2 merit-based raises throughout the duration of the program. And it is 10 months, it's long, so this is another incentive for them to continue with the program. And at the end of the year, they also get where they can compete for a $100 bonus through our public speaking challenge. So they're giving on their experience, they have an opportunity to get a bonus. So within the course of the year, they can make a little over $6,500.
Wow.
Experience, yes. And we do a lot, of course, around financial literacy because a 17-year-old with that type of money,
right?
It's always interesting. First check, you see shoes, right? You see clothes. It's like gotta bring them back. We're fortunate that we work closely with M&T Bank, who they provide their checking and savings accounts, which are their accounts. Like we really deter them from doing the cash checking or having your parent on the account. It's very much your account and it's yours for life. And with that, we also, they supplement our financial literacy education with Operation on Our Hope, Banking on Our Future, which I like that curriculum too, because it's not just checking and savings. They really start with the dignity of money and the value of money and, what is the purpose of all of this?
Right.
And go into savings, budgeting, checking, investing. But yeah, it's really intense, but we're really very intentional about those soft skills because a lot of those are transferable. So even if you go through a year-long internship at Morgan Stanley, you decide like, I don't want to do finance, maybe I want to be an entrepreneur or something else, you still know how to conduct your, to come on time, to have a positive attitude about customer service. Some of the hard skills would be like the data entry, filing, the office management. So it varies.
Wow.
Yeah, and just a holistic manner in which you're engaging these youth is just so impressive. Because I hear programs that do financial education or that do checking or might do a little employment, but the fact that you're putting them all together, which is in the real world how we all actually live and operate, I think is what makes your program so powerful.
Yeah, you're addressing all sides of it. And in a really, I feel like you're not brushing over any of it because you get to spend so much time with them, is you're able to teach them, train them, and then say, okay, now practice. practice in a semi-safe environment where you can maybe screw up a couple times and you'll be okay.
Well, yeah, there seems to be like safe modeling type of stuff going on. I really love the idea of the raises, just showing that good things do happen when you do good stuff. It's really, I mean, come on.
Do they have to negotiate for them?
Oh,
no, they don't. But it's really based on, so part of it is of course, the hard and soft skills, like kind of where they rate. So their mentors will rate them. And then the other pieces like your workshop attendance, your engagement. But it's funny, we haven't had anyone negotiate it before, but it's.
Oh, man. That sounds like another workshop, right? I love it. I have a weird question. How do you teach somebody how to have a positive attitude?
Yeah, so honestly, it's modeling. We have phenomenal staff, and we have a really strategic way of how we even bring, new case managers, which we call program coordinators, into the program. And so for us, from the time we're even interviewing people who's ever going to interface with our young people, like, are you a happy person, to yourself, right?
Yes.
How do you engage with us? And even part of our interview selection, actually having our students, the last round of our selection, our students interview, potential case managers. And so they always tell us, like, yeah, they're probably not going to work. If we ever go against them, we're totally wrong. But it really starts with our staff, and who really value the mission. They themselves, like, believe in the work that we're doing. So a lot of it is, how we model, a lot of scenarios, role plays, and even the job partners that we work with and the mentors, always using what we call teachable moments, right? And so how would you got upset, the bus wouldn't let you on because, you're a teenager, they don't believe you actually have a job. So how do you, here are the two ways that you can handle it. What's the best way to do it? So definitely modeling and the scenarios.
Oh, that's awesome. I mean, I feel like that's really the only way to do it. Is you can't learn that out of a book. Like, here are the 7 ways to have a positive attitude.
Exactly. And I think too, also, like, for us, like, a lot of times when students are angry or upset, like, I think those are just kind of like the fruits of what's really of a root issue of what's really going on. And we really develop rapport and engage them and have a relationship. Like, we can really be real with them, like, so you acted this way in a situation, like, what's really going on? And that's why I think that having those relationships can pull out, like, when they're angry and when they're not acting in an appropriate manner about, like, the real issues.
Right.
And I just want to throw in my 2 cents about this whole idea of positive attitude. I mean, I've found that when you give people something positive in their life, that will help foster an ability to have a positive attitude. When everything is kind of negative, oppressive, stressful, tense, and then you wonder, well, why don't I have a more positive attitude? Well, because you're given a lot of positivity. And I think this program, just by the opportunities you're giving and the support and care you're showing them, help foster that, as well as the modeling and all of that.
No, that's great. I was going to ask a little bit more to give you guys more time to talk about that, because I love that stuff. It's, again, like the status quo thing. If you're used to things being crappy, you're going to expect things to be crappy. And when they're crappy, you're going to be like, all right, that's just what it is.
Right. And I'm going to be mad, but no one's going to try and figure out why.
Well, and you're going to be really good at being crappy.
Yeah, you're going to be the best at it.
If you have no expectations for a young person, like, people rise to, the expectations that you give them. And so for us, we have you are not a child, like, you are an 18-year-old, you're an adult, we're going to treat you that way. And there's certain things that you need to do. And I remember when I first started, a student, like, he completed the 6 weeks, he's like, so I'm really going to get a job now? I was like, yeah, that's what we said we were going to do. Like, get my own account. I was like, yeah. And so it's that trust thing too, that, to your point, that the status quo, that he's been in programs or, where maybe someone told him something, but it didn't happen. And so we need to foster these environments where you're following through on your word. It does create that sense of positivity.
Right. And the expectation on them too, where it's not even that you have to tell them or have any external forces do it, but they internally understand that it's a give and take situation.
Well, the analogy I always like to make to folks when they're having trouble understanding why we do money stuff and why we can do money stuff better is dating. And remember the first time you were in the relationship with someone who expected a lot out of you, someone who saw a lot in you and wanted a lot from you. Remember how that changed your whole outlook about your life? Remember how that turned that hobby of yours into a career? Or just opened you up to changing how you dress and how you stand and how you walk and how you listen to people, because that person who you thought was impressive saw something impressive in you but made you earn it.
Right, exactly. You had to earn it. Yep.
Yes. Yes.
That's making me reflect. Like, oh yeah, I remember her. Wow.
If you're listening, thank you.
Yes.
I was thinking the same thing, Don. Like, I was going to call it out, but I was like, I think I see some of that over there.
Well, I like to say this kind of stuff a lot because I think one of the few things that people will understand trusting their instincts on is love, because we've all been in those kind of situations one way or another, even if our specific circumstances for the rest of life vary wildly.
Yeah.
So if none of this makes sense to you, think about last time you were in love. If you think you're Mr. or Miss Rational 100% of the time, think about last time you was in love. You know what I mean?
Aw, there you go. That's all. That's all what it comes down to, right? Love and relationships. So 10 months is a really long time for a student to commit to anything, especially a high school student. So how do you help them sustain in the program and in the internship for that long?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think for us too is also like, we were very clear from the front of like, this is a commitment and we want you to stay. I mean, we're fortunate that last year we had about 82% retention rate. So
wow.
Nice.
When they start, they're going to complete, not all of them. And we get that because of life and they're 17. But for us, once you're connected with us, you're always with us. But I think for us too, a big incentive is the money.
Right.
That is a huge incentive. Like I said before, 82% of our youth do contribute, to the homes for the money. But then we have some students who were like, are you going to turn in a contract? Who just having the responsibility of going to a job and someone has expectations of you. And then we build incentives in, every Friday we do have our ongoing professional development workshops where we really try and engage youth. So today, University of Baltimore is coming and they're going to be filling out their applications, but they're going to get to do it on their smartphones and iPads. Right?
Cool.
So we're fortunate we're going to be working with the Johns Hopkins Carey School of Business doing an entrepreneurship day. And so they're going to be able to pitch an idea. So they're going to be working with young professionals around a potential idea. Some students will pitch a potential business. Some students will pitch an idea about social change, right? And so for us, really trying to keep those workshops fun and engaging. It's not always very fun to teach a resume, right? Really try and keep them fun, and of course building in those incentives. So we have intern of the week, that is a really big deal for our students, and they don't get anything but a certificate and a gift card to McDonald's. So, but that's a really big deal to be recognized, and having best attendance of the week or highlighting the work that they've done. So I think those incentives, and of course in the summertime, they're able to work full time. So they go from working 12 hours a week to 32 hours a week. And so this is where their full raise has hit, and they're also working their maximum amount of hours. And so that's another incentive, hey, as you continue this program, you're going to be able to gain more skills and of course, more money. And then we have the end of the year event, which is really a graduation. And then the constant contact, we've developed relationships with them. And so they like us, we hope.
Right. Yeah.
So they continue to come.
Yeah, that's so amazing. So I'm curious too, because we're talking about the racial wealth divide, if there are any unique issues that you find youth of color face when entering a corporate environment for the first time, and then what kinds of things they've been able to do to overcome that.
Yeah, I think for us too, I mentioned before, just a lot of misconceptions about being young and being Black and being a male. And I walk into one of these corporate entities, and there's not a lot of people that look like me, right?
Yep.
And so the feeling of do I belong, right? And so for us, before our students even get into the workplace, also talking about what is cultural shock. This is, you're going from, very much, we like to talk to them about code switching, right? Or going the street life to corporate life, and how a lot of it's kind of the same, if you really look at it, right? So teaching them also about being confident about like who you are. Like, yes, you're young, you're black, there's misconception, but let's talk about it. Let's not have the elephant, in the room. So really for us, addressing it head on. And we're fortunate that like when our students do get in there, our partners realize like, oh, like they are smart, they do have, skills, and we want to continue to do this year after year.
I think it's really interesting, again, because you're in a city like Baltimore that is majority black. And even if your city's not majority black, oftentimes the way our neighborhoods are segregated, that if you are black, you're only dealing with other black people.
Exactly.
And the opportunity to kind of be in a place where you're supposed to be of value and equal to white. It's sad that we have to learn that, because that isn't the norm. The dialects kept talking about in people's day-to-day life. I remember when I was visiting my cousins, it used to be called South Central Los Angeles. He was like, yeah, I only see white people if they're a cop driving in the neighborhood. And that's a positive interaction. So the program is doing so much and is addressing so much of what is wrong with our society throughout the country. Again, it's impressive.
It's truly impressive.
What's really impressive, I can't say it enough, it's how comprehensive this all is.
Yeah. It's not only training, it's not only workshops. It's, hey, we're giving you a job, we're giving you responsibilities in that job, we're simulating real life as much as possible.
Well, it's all the stuff, like it's when you, I always talk about how, math is awesome for kids up until the moment you bring letters in. It's all like, I've got apples and I've got oranges and this one is 4 oranges, yay! And then someone's like, and 3 times y. And then you're like, what? What is this? I don't... Because that's the thing, if you can't, give the comprehensive understanding of something in math, it sucks, and then you hate that math, right? And that's really how it is with everything.
Yes.
And hey, as a rapper, I'm always like, yo, hip hop's not hip hop if you don't have all the elements. Yo, you're missing the graffiti, then it's wrong. It's someone just spinning on their head. It's not b-boy. And that's how it is with everything. It doesn't work if you don't have the whole thing connected. And that's why it's so great, because I've been a part of a lot of programs like yours that have done, programs that have done pieces of what you do. And it's so hard to maintain funding if you don't maintain partnerships that do all the other stuff.
Yes.
Right?
That's the hard part. Yeah, that's my job.
Right.
I mean, I love the program model. I love the mission. But yeah, this is probably like the hardest thing I've been with the organization. It's probably the hardest part is like, getting the funding, getting the partners, because, it's $10,000 to host one intern. A lot of times people look at you like, whoa, but I'm like, look, over 60% is going directly back into, the pockets of, our young people. And then at the end of the day, for us, like, we are very much a business. For us, we have to be better than a Fortune 500 corporation because we have more at stake. We have, lives. So yes, it does cost. And so sometimes, the challenge is, speaking to, corporations about like, we're asking you to make an investment in young people and in your company and in your community that you are housed in.
Wow, I love it. All right. Got another song for us?
On that
so
tip,
good, for real.
We going out to Oakland for Seneca and DJ Saurus with Each One Teach One, and we'll be back to rap some more in a second.
How appropriate.
Well, that's what I try to do is
play. Songs are appropriate.
That's the idea, is play music that's appropriate. I don't know if you've been listening. Anyway, Run Your Budget, Bye Bye Radio, check you in a second.
One teach one, yet one is just a fraction. White, black, bringing it back, time for action. Mics clash, white crack, sold by your pastor. This hit's played in parks and ghetto blasters. One teach one is just a fraction. White, black, bringing it back, time for action. Mics clash, white crack, sold by your pastor. This hit's played in parks and ghetto blasters. Searching for a brighter sunshine, a tighter punchline. In a timeline and a grind, the organized mind. Strategize, talk to myself, talk to the fine signs of steep climb. Bridging the gap, dividing fine lines in between time's illusion. Just cruising, pursuing every aspect, reflecting fade lose. Bend situations backwards, I survive all after. Die for life after this, lyricist is heard. It goes one, teach one, yet one is just a fraction. White, black, bringing it back, time for action. Mics clash, white crack, sold by your pastor. This hit's played in parks and ghetto blasters. The last will and testament. Wrestle with the lesson, lit eternal flame. Taking a trip against the grain on the ship to become a gun that clung the holster. Escape is the freedom, use that for your poster. Supposed to wish or hope for the most of life in this paradise, rock stone closer. Home in the pit, fall in, stand thick, cause the quicksand's thick for the cornerstone brick. Come on, one teach one, yet one is just a fraction. White, black, bring bringing it back, time for action. Mics clash, mic crack, sold by your pastor. This hit's played in parks and ghetto blasters. One, each one is just a fraction. White, black, bringing it back, time for action. Mics clash, mic crack, sold by your pastor. This hit's played in parks and ghetto blasters. And I admit, sold out to the merchant ships. Redemption, no need for exemption. Hit punchlines and the lunch lines, grab and sit. With the white folks, segregated schools, it's a hoax, everyday soldier. Roll with the spokes, miseducated, misinformation, outdated. It's a battle that you can't let go. Communication is the hardest truth and roll. Upstream to be seen and flow. Downtown with the crew, drink a few, you know. Ego, mask to the people, let go. A little bit keeping you sure. Hit the floor, head spinning when the war like the Redskins before. The Europeans came for Indians and saw indigenous ways, yet they stayed and gave smallpox like Jefferson slaves. Disobeyed and make kids forget back. That was excluded from your textbooks back. Yeah, that was excluded from your textbooks back. Yeah, that was excluded from your textbooks. Rook took on the White House lawn. And go one, teach one, get one. It's just a fraction. White, black, bringing it back. Time for action. Mike's clash, right.
And we are back. Brunch and Budget, Bonfire Radio. That was Seneca and DJ Soros out of Oakland, California. With one, teach one. You know, that's my favorite rhyme ever. Each one, teach one. It's just such a, it's simple and it's like the realist, right? It's what we all have to do.
It's the distillation of everything. I love it. So we are here, a special monthly series with CFED highlighting the financial nonprofits who are helping to close the racial wealth divide. We are here with Stephanie, the executive director of the Urban Alliance in Baltimore, telling us about the amazing programming that they have for their youth. And I would love to hear some success stories. Some of your favorite ones.
Yeah, does it work? Does it
work?
Did you
It actually works. Yes, it does work, believe it or not. And actually, we finished a 5-year study with Urban Institute. So it was an independent study that they did, a randomized controlled trial study, which really took a treatment group and a control group. So looking at students who went through our program and students who didn't, and saying, did they fare? Students who went through our program, did they do better? And we're fortunate that some of the early results are saying that, particularly our program works well with young men of color, and should they college and they persist to the second year, that our students, 94% of them are increasing in their hard and soft skills. So we're definitely seeing some results that this program does work. And it's great to have an independent study say it rather than us just saying it. But in that program, 100% of our youth will graduate high school, over 82% will go off to college, 81% will persist. We do have a pocket of youth who are very like, nope, I want to go into the working world. And so working, with those students, or some students who kind of fall off, but we have in our alumni services really kind of come back and pick them up, which reminds me of a student, great student, really, really smart, very well, got to his first semester of college and just did not do well. For him, like college just wasn't for him, and he didn't want to do it anymore. And maybe about 6 months ago, I got a random text because he was on my caseload, and he was like, "Oh, Miss Stephanie, I just want to let you know that I finally got my driver's license. I'm 21 now, and I'm up to be a manager at Stanley Steamers, and I know I didn't complete college, but I really enjoy what I'm doing, and I want to come back and talk to our students." Right. So even for students who don't necessarily do extremely well when they get out, they find their bearings, right, and they come back and they know that they have that support. Another one of my favorite students.
Let's say real quick. And that's like real life. And that everyone's not going to go to college and get all A's and graduate in 4 years and what have you. And that's the importance of your program, is to create paths for people as a whole, not just the straight A student, but those who aren't going to go through college. And again, you said it quickly, 100% of your kids graduate from high school, but you said earlier only about 68% of kids in Baltimore graduate from high school, and so that's really incredible.
That's great. 100% rate is amazing, and I love your. It's really hard for poor kids in general to wrap our brains around college, because college is where money happens, and you do that or else you wither and die. And that's not what well-to-do people are told. Many, all your like college dropout success story.
Look at Bill Gates, Steve Jobs.
All that kind of stuff. But the reason that they were able to do that is because they had that leeway. And I think it's amazing. Thank you for that success story of a kid who decided on his own that college wasn't for him, rather than like, I couldn't make it in college, so now I'm a loser. And now he's got a life that he is proud of. That's the bar that we're trying to create for people, not just we're funneling everyone to college, whether they know what to do with it or not. That's fantastic. I found.
No, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt your
No.
other
Oh,
story.
No. Like, I've been here forever, so I got a million of them. Number one, students, he, great student, really, struggled, just in terms of home life. He was not going to graduate, but really just attest to our case managers who are, if we have to text you to get to school, like, we'll do what we have to do. And, he did really, really well at his job site, which was Leg Mason. And he ended up graduating, not necessarily top of his class, but he graduated. He did so well at his internship that they, hired him as a college intern. And he spoke at an event last in December, and he's an honors student right now at a local community college. Just found out last week that he's going to be in the honors program at Towson University. But this is a student very middle of the road, had a lot of challenges, but came to work every day, right, and did what he had to do. Was able to be a college intern. He's successfully gone through his community college, and now he's going to be in an honors program. Coming from like a 2.0 to now 4.0 college, and he says that he was able to really connect like what he was doing at his internship to college, and how for him that just sparked like, oh, like I think I can do this, like, and I have a network of people at my job that I can talk to about this when I run into challenges. So for us, it's those light bulb moments, and that for us makes it all worth what we're doing, and that students realize what they do or don't want to do, but they always have a network of people that care an adult in their life to fall back on.
That's so huge. I feel like the network of people and the community of people is what leads to a lot of success. Yeah. Knowing that you have setbacks and you have opportunities to come back from those is not something everybody gets,
right.
And it's it's not something that's easy to build. And especially as a young person, if it's not just around you, how do you even know where to start?
Exactly.
So you providing that, I feel like, is probably one of the most critical things of the whole program. It's not just giving them the job or giving them the raises or teaching them the skills. It's like, no, we're going to be there for you.
Yes.
Whatever happens. That's so
we
awesome.
We all have that in our, that one person that's like pushing you forward. And unfortunately, not everyone has that, but it's a critical piece of our program.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. So holistic. So I want to ask for our listeners who kind of feel like they didn't have these opportunities or the support growing up.
Can they come now?
Can they come now? Is it too late?
No, I've really been considering dropping all of this and just re-enrolling in high school. So
I know, right? What can we do now for ourselves, people who are in these situations? And it's one of those things where I feel like there are a lot of people who didn't get this and who don't have the network of support. Are there ways for them to find that and build that now as well?
Yeah, definitely. There's tons of mentorship programs. And I know even for us, beyond just our high school program, we've started our curriculum outreach where we actually are able to go out and facilitate our soft skills training. So it doesn't include the internship, but it does, provide that case management, and it provides, how do I find a job, like all the tools so you can be successful. But, getting engaged with your local, community, like there's tons of mentorship programs. There's tons of career development centers, which are always in various communities to really begin to identify, like, who am I and where do I want to go in life?
Right.
And I think something that everyone can take away from this program, as I'm looking at it, is that, again, like, so success isn't accidental, and it's not all about, you as an individual success story or as an individual failure. It's about having opportunity to investments, into resources, into support. And sometimes, as you're an adult, you might have to do that reinvestment yourself, right? Because just because some of us got it when we were young, but we sure need a whole new boost of it, now that we're getting in late 30s or early 40s, and not thinking, well, things aren't going well, it's life is over. No, there's always opportunities to, go out and expand your social networks, try something different so you can, be part of a community that is supported. So I just think that's something that, we all need urban alliance programs throughout our lives, right? It shouldn't stop at 19 or whatever.
Exactly. And I always say, pick up the pace where you are, right? So maybe you didn't get it before, like, go to your local community college, right? There's so many credit and non-credit courses that you can begin to engage in. There's a lot of consortiums as well. A simple Google search, you'll be able to find what you're looking for. I always say starting with a career assessment, and then identify, what training programs, which a lot, particularly with nonprofits and with your Mayor's Office of Employment Development, you can find a lot of, 6 weeks, 4 weeks. Some of them are intensive, some of them cost a lot, some of them don't. And there's even scholarships. I know Central Scholarships that's throughout the East Coast, but they offer funding if you want to go to a career or technology training program. So the opportunities are out there. It's just believing in yourself and having the confidence that, like you said, investing in yourself.
Yeah, totally. And it sounds like the outreach, looking for that network and finding that community is critical before, even besides what you end up learning, is just like finding those relationships. Exactly. I love it. We're out of time, Dialect.
Yeah, can we just leave the thing on and just let you guys talk about more stuff?
Tell us more success. I'm like,
I wish I had more stuff to say in here, but I really don't, because I'm like, this is great.
This is great. Keep doing everything you're doing, and any corporations who might randomly be listening, partner with Urban Alliance.
Give them all your money.
So where can we find you, Stephanie?
Yeah, so you can find us online at www.theurbanalliance.org. As Pam mentioned before, we are always looking for new corporate partners and even volunteers. We are starting a new program for alumni. They're called GPS. And so basically, it's like a mentorship, but it's a pathfinder. So it's a guided pathfinder for our students in college. So again, provide them additional supports on simple things, from filling out your FAFSA to, working with your academic advisor. So again, always looking for volunteers or corporate partners.
I like it. GPS. So it's like you're getting money positioning system.
You're getting money positioning. Is that what it's called? The getting money positioning.
If it wasn't that, feel free to take that.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for your time, Stephanie. This was really incredible. Your organization's incredible. Dedrick, thank you so much for co-hosting and setting all of this up. And I love all the college flags in the background.
Yeah, loving all that.
So good.
As usual, everybody.
That's what Stephanie and I are here at Urban Alliance.
Yeah, we are here.
Yes.
And I'm just really glad to do this partnership with Brunch and Budget and being able to highlight these nonprofits across the country that are doing the important work in addressing racial wealth inequality. So I'm just real glad we have this partnership.
Yeah, really. And guys, those of you listening, feel free to holler at us if you want to know more information. Feel free to holler at them, holler at the CFPD, leave us notes. Actually, if you got hate mail, all that, leave us notes on iTunes or YouTube or wherever you want to leave that. Don't
direct
bother
the
them
hate
with
mail
that.
to us.
Direct it to us. We can deal with it. And we're going to leave you off with someone who possibly would give us a little bit of hate mail. With our last song is by Joey Nato out of New England. And he's got a great song, but he probably doesn't listen to the show because the song is titled, I Don't Ever Want to Hear the Word Money Again.
Oh.
It's from his record, The Internship. He has he's got a really dope rap album about being an intern. And after going through all the process and everything, that was his conclusion. Is like, I don't ever want to even hear the word money again now that I have this. I thought it was appropriate for you guys.
Another appropriate song, Dialect.
Right.
I don't know how I do it. Just pull it out of the thin internet. And we will check you next week. Brunch and Budget, Bonfire Radio. Peace.
Good afternoon, everybody. I just finished a meeting with my economic team about the current state of our economy. It's been nearly 2 years since that terrible September when our economy teetered on the brink of collapse. It took nearly a decade to dig the hole that we're in, and that it would take longer than any of us would like to climb our way out. I've got confidence in the American economy, and most importantly, I've got confidence in the American people. We just got to start working together.
So blow it up, fuck this money. I'm not rich, but I'm doing alright. They gon' try to get you, just don't get in line. I don't ever wanna hear the word money again. Liberty, get united, got America all excited. They gon' try to get you, just don't get in line. I don't ever wanna hear the word money again. Been wrong in so long according to my ego, but am I wrong for loving the roots of all evil? I do explain that to God, that I sold my soul for a goddamn C note. I look at my life, I gotta prioritize. I know the paper's something that they'll never criticize, but can they synthesize verse, really create the opportunity to own my own penthouse estate? Never mind it, why we all designed it. I'm so sick of these fucking advertisements. Cash is the root, and I'm picking the leaf. We all coppers and robbers, I'm the chief and the thief. Yeah, addition to a lot, well I do like the sound of this. I did the math, but I'll never pass calculus. I'll never pass by $1 but I swear I don't wanna hear the word money again. So blow it up, fuck this money. I'm not rich, but I'm doing alright. They gon' try to get you, just don't get it live. I don't ever wanna hear the word money again. Liberty, get united, got America all excited. They gon' try to get you, just don't get it live. I don't ever wanna hear the word money again. Not unless it's in this criteria. You're not trying to charge me out the ass like my carrier. I want grants and grants, faster than the bullet train in Japan. Not getting picked like John McCain to be on a string for the government's kicks. I can't see my tail light. How you charge me for this? My cousin Nick tattooed right there on his neck. Born to lose, live to win. That's the realest shit. All I know is I gotta search for the fucking hideout. No more stronger shoulders, no. Let me find out. I know my next check is in somebody's pocket, and my following commission is in another body's wallet. Hey, I punk ass, that's a no-go. Get my oil changed, buy food for the house, reassure the bills I paid, then I pump gas again. When does it ever end? And college tuition, don't say the word again. So blow it up, fuck this money. I'm not rich, but I'm doing alright. They gon' try to get you, just don't get it live. I don't ever wanna hear the word money again. Liberty, get united, got America all excited. They gon' try to get you, just don't get it live. I don't ever wanna hear the word money again. This money, I'm not rich, but I'm doing alright. They gon' try to get you, just don't get it live. I don't ever wanna hear the word money again. Liberty, get united, got America